And then we got Bobby Fong right next to him. And how about Sean Dillon Kelly? Nice rebound so far after the weekend that he has had last couple. Josh Herron, Jake Gagne, and Hayden Gillum did a nice job this morning improving his lap time, putting his Honda in 6th. Escalante, tough weekend so far for him. Cornbow, JD Beach on row 3. Benjamin Smith, Ashton Yates, and Danilo Lewis will be a little bit further back on row 4. Then we see Max Flinders, Waters, Nolan Lampkin in his first ride of the year, Greg, on a Honda. Campbell, Giannotto, and Bobby Davis round out our field.
When the lights in the upper left part of your screen go out, we're going racing. Clutches are out, a little bit of movement from Bobby Fong in the middle, but nothing too significant. Down into turn number 2 we go, and it's the number 6 of Beaubier. Look at Josh Herron, trying to go around the outside, aggressive right from the get-go.
Yeah, Josh Herron, you just know, on game day, he's always ready, Greg. He did a great job on launching that Ducati from second up that hill, and he gets right on the back of the guy he needs to be behind as he rode around the outside of Bobby Fong. So, Greg, to your point, maybe he's just not feeling it still on those fresh Dunlops. The last time we saw him shake his head, let's not forget, was at the Ridge when he had a problem, and he kind of went backwards in that race too. Let's hope that's not a repeat. For the 50, he's done such a great job this year.
Cameron Beaubier was a little disappointed after that first session of qualifying. He didn't really feel like he could get into the rhythm that's required here at WeatherTech Raceway. There was just no flow to the laps that he was stringing together. The team went to work overnight. They made some huge changes to that motorcycle, and from Q1 to Q2, Cameron Beaubier was able to pick up over a second. That's what earned him the pole position coming into the 3 races this weekend. So his confidence is at an all-time high, and that BMW is doing exactly what he's asking of it.
Yeah, and he goes 1:23.825 in the first flying lap. That's going to be the fastest lap of the race. They qualified at a 1:23 flat. So only 0.8 of a second off. Keep in mind, if you've never joined us here at a MotoAmerica event, which you need to, Dunlop provides a very soft tire that they use in qualifying. Some tracks it'll go 2 laps, some tracks it'll go 1 lap. So they do give you an extra push as up the hill they go. And Josh Herron challenging early on this one. He's going to pass Beaubier before the top of the corkscrew.
I kind of felt like that was something that he would have to do in these first 2 or 3 laps. This is just all about the run through and out of turn 6. On our track map, when we did our 360 preview, I mentioned how important it is to get through turn 6. The thing is, the number 1 is so difficult to pass. That's what's gonna make it harder for these guys. Once Herron gets to the front, he's very good at controlling the pace of what they're capable of doing.
Here those Superbikes run by the start-finish line. Our top 3, Herron taking a tighter line than Beaubier. Beaubier trying to find a wider line, square it up. Bobby Fong. Nice. So as we get to 15 laps into this race, for Sean Dillon Kelly in the Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki, he said it's going to be a question mark on how well we have this bike set up for long distance and how well that rear Dunlop tire is going to work for me.
Well, I know for Sean, he is just itching to get that Suzuki on the podium.
A little bit of a different setup coming into race trim. This is going to teach him a lot because remember, this is the first of 3 races this weekend, so still trying to narrow in on a tune-up for Jake Gagne.
Yeah, talking with him too, he said, I felt like it was knifing a little bit on the front end. So he felt like when he was getting in on the brakes with lean angle that it was just kind of a little bit sketchy on the front end. But you saw the side-by-side between Bobby Fong and Sean Dillon Kelly as Fong with a little bit of a wheelie coming up the hill towards the corkscrew. Boy, it's hard when your eyes are forward and you have 2 talents like Herron and Beaubier out front, and all of a sudden now you have Sean Dillon Kelly nipping at your heels. Down through Rainy they go. We're going to head down into turn number 10. This very tricky but well cambered right-hand corner. One of my favorites on the racetrack. And then you got to slow the bike down as Beaubier's going to take a shot. So there he goes up the inside. Beaubier gets on the gas, and he will. Oh, no, it looks like Herron's got a good run.
No, I don't think he's going to make it. No, he's not going to make it, Greg. Like, now I really want to see. The fastest laps of the race were in the 23s, the high 23s. Oh, Cameron down.
Cameron Beaubier too much on the front brake, loses the front, and down he goes into turn number 1. They're going to see if they can get that bike refired. It's a long weekend here at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, and Beaubier, looking ahead at this championship, is going to want all the points he wants.
The fastest is a 23. You're going to see, Greg, he's trailing off into here. He gets his last downshift done, and he's just trailing the lever, and you can see the front starting to tuck. He knew he was in tight. He didn't want to run wide in the middle and allow Herron and maybe whoever else back through. That bike did do a tumble, Greg, but it looks like it's up and riding again. As we saw.
Josh Herron is Bobby Fong. Jamie?
talk about track time over the course of the weekend, and we covered the fact that Josh Herrin was only able to do 5 laps in the qualifying session this morning. Problem also for Josh was that they weren't in a row. He wasn't able to string them all together, recovering from that injury yesterday. His body is still very stiff. He stayed off of the bike longer than normal out on the grid just so he could continue stretching.
So he's able to get the motorcycle upright a little bit more, where Bobby Fong knows his bike's good towards the end of the race, but he's got to use a lot more edge grip on this Yamaha than Josh is having to use on the Ducati.
And to your point, you can see both bikes spinning, but look at the gap. See how quick that gap closed up in turn 10? So that's Bobby having a couple of looks. And the last lap by, he was to the left side of Herrin as they came out of the turn 10 left-hand corner there, or right-hand corner, to put himself on the left of Herrin to maybe try something into 11.
Jake just volunteered to me. He said, you know what? The rider of the year right now, for me, has got to be Bobby Fong. He is riding this motorcycle so well. And in talking with Bobby, he had a great standout year last year on a privateer Yamaha R1. And Bobby said, it's funny. Sometimes I think last year's bike worked better or handled better, but everywhere they go so far, he's been faster everywhere on his attack performance progressive Yamaha. So he said, I know it's working. I know it's working well for me.
Well, there gets to be a point where if you're on a bike that's not quite capable, you override things a little bit. And you get to that point where you just you draw that energy from the bike itself and you think, I got to make this bike do certain things. When you get on a bike like he's on now, and the reason why his lap times are probably a little bit better is look at the drive he's got right there to the outside of that Ducati. Is he going to be close enough to do something down here? Not quite. Again, Herrin, very difficult to pass under braking. So for Bobby, this bike probably, even though it's a little bit maybe harder to ride, you also got to remember, he's up at the sharp end every weekend. Every weekend he's up with the fast guys. So, sometimes it's funny how that works. When you feel like you're an underdog, you kind of sometimes can outperform the machine.
And Bobby Fong, of course, California native. Up around the stock there. Oh, Sean Dillon Kelly.
Oh, man.
Just lost the front at the top of the corkscrew. And unfortunately for him, Suzuki not going to get that podium.
That's so bad. That's such a bummer.
What a great ride he had put up to this point right there.
Such a bummer. He's riding so well, Greg. It almost looked like he ground the cases there. Obviously, the front was probably going sooner. And this guy, man, he's so positive all the time with everything he's doing. And he was right there with them today. This is, while it's good, he knows we're talking about him, and then you see a little mistake like that or a little accident like that. But that just goes to show, how hard these guys are pushing. Look at Bobby really drifting that bike down through Rainy Corner. Man, he's so fast at the bottom part of this bottom part of the lap.
Into turn 11 they go. When we come across the line, it's going to be 7 to go. There's a look at the number 6 Beaubier. Take a look at what you're seeing. I wanted to see really, Jay, what's going on with the motorcycle. Sometimes you've seen riders with half a foot peg trying to make this work, but it looks like the Tytler Cycles BMW team has done a good job of making this bike crash worthy.
Yeah, he's up behind Danilo Lewis now, who's running 9th. And Bryce Cornbell is just up the road from them. So
he's got a 34-point advantage over Jason Waters, who's back in 12th on the racetrack. But J.D. Beach, and Yates at 27 down out of 7th place. And he was trying to chase down Hayden Gillum, also on a Honda CBR 1000 RR SP2. So unfortunately for Yates, he's trying to get his bike fired up. It didn't look like it was that big of an issue in terms of how that bike crashed. Let's take a look at what happened.
Oh, man, he just lost the front going in.
I don't think even if Bobby was still on his tailpipe that it would make any sense for Fong to try to attack Herrin this early, with 4 laps to go in this race. I think the move for Fong is going to have to be this corner, last lap, because the Ducati, look how it comes off the corner right now.
And there goes Cameron Beaubier trying to get by Bryce Cornbell. Now, this is actually battle for 7th. So Cameron's up a lot further than I think he thought he would get to as he passes Bryce pretty easily on his way up to the corkscrew. This is where he's good. Now, if you watch from the exit of this corner, watch the bike spin on the exit. You can see that thing spinning, but watch how he can just pull up into the back of the Ducati through here and maybe get a drive off here, but he's a bike length and a half behind before they get on the brakes, and that is a big, big move at that point.
Ooh, Herrin with a bit of a moment in the middle of turn number 11, and Fong's a little bit closer on that drive.
I know where I'm better, but I can't quite get there. And he knows it's such a big move. What Bobby's going to have to do here is he's going to have to do something like we used to see Tony Elias do. Remember when Tony would be following a guy and then he'd go straight to the apex?
Yep.
That's what he's going to have to do in turn 11 to make the pass stick. He's going to have to stand him up. But his run from turn 6 was the key here for Herrin on that last lap. He pulled such a big gap through the middle of turn 6 that it just didn't allow Bobby to get close enough at the end.
Second, Bobby Fong, Jake Gagne. So Yamaha goes 2-3. JD Beach, unbelievable. And Richie Escalante in 5th. Let's get right.
He's got that #1 plate for a reason, so he's going to be fighting hard this race. But we've seen it at MotoAmerica also last round where he didn't qualify as well as he would have liked. But when they got in that race, he really started finding some speed.